gents. All right, we're coming to the end of the day today, but this is a very important component of our opening day, and that is our CBTU Distinction Awards. And so much great work is done coast to coast every year, and while we might remember to take a picture or a video, the CBTU Distinction Awards create an opportunity to recognize please, brothers and sisters, thank you. To recognize and honor industry leaders who have made significant contributions to their fields and supported nation building through creating sustainable development approaches that transform the lives of our members. The selected recipients have demonstrated commitment through the establishment of programs that serve to support, build, and transform the lives of those we serve, whether it be through leadership development, skill growth, positive community impact, personal accountability, or health and safety. We will be presenting awards this evening to leaders who have made a huge impact on the building trades and construction industry as a whole from across the country. The awards were created by artist Tara Marsh from Glen Williams, Ontario, courtesy of the Canadian Clay and Glass Museum in Waterloo. To begin this afternoon's award ceremony, I'd like to invite Patrick Campbell, Canadian Regional Director of the International Union of Operating Engineers, to come to the stage and introduce our first award winners. Can you just go on top of that?
Thank you very much, Sean. It is my honor and privilege to recognize the recipients of this year's CBTU Workforce Development Award. Representing Newfoundland and Labrador Indigenous Skilled Trades Office, Mr. Darren King and Mr. Stanley Oliver. Darren King is the Executive Director of Trades NL, representing 16 trades and more than 15,000 building and construction workers. Since joining Trades NL in 2016, Darren has been a leader in diversity in the workplace, a strong advocate for developing Indigenous partnerships, and continues to be a vocal proponent for local benefit agreements in the construction industry. Stanley Oliver was born and raised in Labrador. He currently holds the position of Manager of Trades NL Indigenous Skilled Trades Office. He has worked in the Labrador and Atlantic region in the natural resources sector for over 35 years, occupying several senior management and leadership positions in the Nunatsiavut government, the Nunatowavut Community Council, and the Atlantic First Nations Policy Congress. He will tell you his philosophy is to create free, detail-oriented work environments that focus on positive collaborative partnerships with government and business without losing sight of grassroots concerns. Please join me in welcoming Darren and Stanley to the stage to accept this year's Workforce Development Award.
We are a voice for more than 15,000 skilled trades workers right across Newfoundland and Labrador. Our highly skilled workforce has played a pivotal role in constructing our province's most significant projects. In St. John's, Corner Brook, Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and places in between, we advocate for Indigenous skilled trades workers. We are proud to maintain relationships with industry, government, and our communities. The potential for skilled trades in Newfoundland and Labrador has never been greater. Trades NL, building our province together.
Thank you, everyone. We'll just have a couple of words. Thank you to CBTU for recognizing the efforts. It's not Stanley and I, it's Trades NL and a collective team effort and a very supportive board of directors. The award was born from a number of perspectives, and I'll share very quickly. The first is, back when we were doing the Lower Churchill Hydro project, we had 6,000 plus employees at one point in time at peak. And an observation we made is that towards the end of the project, very few of our Indigenous apprentices were actually getting the support that was required to progress through their trades training to become journey persons. And in effect, by extension, what that meant was the next project that happens in Labrador that they're a part of, they're going to have very few people, more than they had the last time, who would be in a position to accept better positions and leadership positions and to advance their careers. The second perspective was that our board of directors at Trades NL has always been and continues to be very interested and supportive of a partnership with the 5 Indigenous groups that we have on the island and in Labrador. And we felt that, as we do today, we felt back then, with a looming trade shortage projected over the 10 or 15 year horizon back then, that the Indigenous group and partnership we had, they would continue to be one of the partners that we wanted to work with, along with many others from the underrepresented sector in the trades, to advance their careers and to fill the vacancies that we anticipate over the horizon. So thank you very much. This is indeed needs to be attributed to the board of directors that we have at Trades NL and the business managers who had the vision to see this and to give us the encouragement to do the work that it took. I want to say a special thanks on a personal note to Premier Andrew Furey in our province, who had the vision, that shared the vision we had, and offered financial support from his government, first of all for the establishment of the office in Labrador, and within the past 12 months offered continued financial support to partner with us to expand the office to the island on the east coast in St. John's and on the west coast in Corner Brook. So thank you all so very much. I'd now like to introduce our manager for the past couple of years of the office, Mr. Stanley Oliver.
Well, good evening, brothers and sisters. Thank you. It's an honor to be here and accept this award on behalf of Trades NL and the Trades NL Indigenous Skilled Office. I am the Inuit son of a residential school survivor. I am a proud Inuit son of a residential school survivor. I'm also very proud to work for Trades NL as the manager of their Indigenous office. Since 2019, we've made tremendous achievements in what we do. We started off in 2019 with about 100 clients. Now, friends, we have over 800. We have 140 working, which represents about 17.4% of the workforce in the industry right now. We're also very proud to say that 23% of those 804 are women. Of those, we currently have about 49-50 JPs on our roster, and we've helped 15 of those go from apprentice 3 or 4 to full person, journey person. And that's what our office is about. We provide individual wraparound services to individual Indigenous skilled trades clients. Our motto, brothers and sisters, is one job at a time, one employer at a time, one partnership at a time. And that's why we've been successful. It's one job at a time. And we're not doing this together. We do this with Trades NL. We do this with our unions. We do this with the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. We do this with the federal government. We are taking reconciliation to a whole new level in Newfoundland and Labrador with our unions and with Trades NL. We're doing it in a respectful, reciprocal way. It's not Darren in front of Stanley, it's side by side. We just happen to hold the tiller. We have a great team at Trades NL in our St. John's office. We have a great team in our Labrador office. We just happen to be the guys that's holding the tiller. So again, it's side by side. We're very proud of what we do. We're very proud of our Indigenous skilled trades workers. We have the capability. Do not confuse capability and capacity. We have the capability. What we like to say in Labrador, including Muskrat Falls, and a lot of the unions here have been involved with that. If you've seen it, we built it. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren and Stanley. Truly inspiring the work they do in Newfoundland and Labrador, and I really appreciate their efforts and Stanley's commitment to making a difference in the lives of Indigenous people in Newfoundland and Labrador. So thanks to them and Trades NL for a very deserving and inspiring award. I'd like to now introduce Brother Russ Shuchuk, the International VP for the IBW, to introduce our next award recipient.
Thank you all. First and foremost, I'd like to just thank all of my brothers and sisters here today from the IBW. It's truly an honor to represent you, but also in the same vein, a true honor to be here as part of the executive of the CBTU. I can tell you all, the trades across Canada, we work very closely together to make sure the projects that Sean mentioned earlier, we're working hard to make sure these are union projects. We have a fight every day against our competition, the wannabe unions, the pretend unions out there, and we work diligently every day to fight for building trades workers and our young workers and the future of our workers across this country day in and day out. So thank you, Sean, and your executive for all your hard work. It is my pleasure to present the next award, who is a true change maker, not only in our union, the IBW, but across the construction industry. Peter Reid of the Central Ontario Building Trades. In 2010, Peter was hired by the business representative for the Central Ontario Building Trades. In addition to his role, he has been a field representative of the Hammerheads program. Peter is a certified training instructor for Workers' Health and Safety Center. Since his accident, Peter has continued to give back and help the industry by acting as the COBT and Hammerheads liaison. In 2022, he began working with the Canadian Building Trades, supporting their apprenticeship services program in the trades by assisting contractors who employ Hammerheads graduates in obtaining financial incentives to support equity-deserving groups entering the construction industry. Please join me in welcoming Peter Reid.
Thank you so much for the award. I want to thank Sean Strickland and the CBTU for giving me this honor. I also want to thank some of the people that helped me along the way, James St. John and Laura and Kwok over at Hammerheads, keeping that program going. I wanted to thank my two nurses that brought me up here today, Princess and Mackenzie. Thanks so much. But you know, I was thinking about this on the way here, and it's great to get an award, and I want to thank everyone for it. But none of us here do this for the recognition. And I started thinking, what is it we do this for? And the first thing that came to my mind, I do it because I can, because I have the ability, I have the connections, so it's, you know, something to do. Second thing I thought of was, we do it because it's the fundamentals of the unions, not only to bring ourselves up, but to bring everyone around us up. And all of society needs to come up with us. And then the third thing I thought of, and probably the simplest thing ever, is, brothers and sisters, it's the right thing to do. And, we got to keep doing this. We got to keep helping everybody along into the trades, and everybody deserves that same opportunity that each one of us in this room got. So again, thank you, Sean, and the CBTU, and thanks, everyone.
Let's give it up for Peter.
Oh, sorry, take a picture. Sure. You want something to say? You want to say something? Okay. Thank you very much, Peter. You truly are an inspiration. I've known Peter for a very long time, and he was and still is a hard-ass electrician. So, Peter, thank you very much for being here today, and thanks for your tremendous contribution that continues despite some obstacles to the industry and mentoring young people and encouraging them to get into and stay in the trades. And thank you, Peter. I would now like to ask the chairman to come forward to introduce our next award winners.
It is my honor to be up here this afternoon to recognize two true labor leaders. It is my honor to present to the CBTU Distinction Award for Health and Safety to Terry Parker and Ian Robb on behalf of the Building Trades of Alberta Resiliency Program. Terry Parker is the Executive Director of the Building Trades of Alberta, which represents 60,000 skilled tradespeople and 18 Alberta local unions. Previously, Terry served for 12 years as the Executive Director of Saskatchewan Building Trades Council. He has a wealth of knowledge and experience in the unionized construction and maintenance industries. Terry is also a glazer, and prior to 2005, he was an agent for the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades. His dedication to the labor movement and to the safety and welfare of the unionized workers he represents is evident in the action he takes and the decisions he makes every day. Ian Robb, early career as a bartender and union representative, led him to a role as an advocate for workers' rights in the hospitality industry. Workers' mental health, addiction, and dependency challenges were taboo topics, leaving workers with few or no options to seek support in the workplace. Later in his career, as the Canadian Director of Unite Here, the largest hospitality union in North America, he saw the magnitude of the mental health, addiction, and dependency challenges in the workplace on a national scale. In 2022, with funding from the Government of Alberta, Ian took on the role as Program Coordinator, leading the development of the Building Trades of Alberta Building Resiliency Program. Ian's role as a chairman of the BTA keeps him at the forefront of the advocacy of the BTA's 60,000 construction workers and families. Please welcome to the stage Terry and Ian.
BTA's highest priority is its membership. We know that mental health, wellness, and overall well-being is essential to productivity in the workplace. We also know our members work hard and accept many personal sacrifices. Our members are away from home for long periods of time, have unpredictable work schedules, and the nature of physical work can impact individuals in different ways. All of these factors can lead to issues impacting mental health, addictions, and wellness. Building a resilient workplace culture is about supporting the creation of mentally healthy workplaces that can shape the behaviors that lead to a psychologically safe and healthy workplace culture. In other words, resilient workplace culture matters. Building resiliency within organizations supports workers to be more adaptive, agile, and better positioned to manage disruptions or challenges over time. We want to support our members to be better equipped to manage their personal well-being and emotional stress and less likely to rely on substances in an unhealthy way. Building a resilient workplace culture is about supporting the creation of mentally healthy workplaces that can shape the behaviors that lead to a psychologically safe and healthy workplace culture. In other words, resilient workplace culture matters. Building resiliency within organizations supports workers to be more adaptive, agile, and better positioned to manage disruptions or challenges over time. We want to support our members to be better equipped to manage their personal well-being and emotional stress and less likely to rely on substances in an unhealthy way. That's why we're excited about the work we've been doing with the Government of Alberta, TELUS Health, and our newest partner, Adversity, who's helping us scale preventative microlearning and resiliency training.
Thank you very much, Robert. Thank you, Sean, as well. And I'd like to thank the Canadian Executive Board and CBTU for all of their support with this program. First of all, this program was meant to educate and help our members out there so that they can break free and sort of work with them so that we're not actually punishing our members, but giving them the opportunity to seek out the help that they need on their own and educate our members that this support is out there for them. So, first of all, I'd like to thank the Government of Alberta and the Ministry of Health. And today with us we have Minister Sawney from Advanced Education, and I'd like to just thank you for joining us today, and if you can also pass on to the government, we really appreciate all the support that we're receiving on this program from you. It really goes a long way to our members, so thank you very much. Also, I'd like to thank all of our affiliates that have been participating in our program, that have actually made it sort of get legs and start moving forward, and we have a long ways to go yet, but we're not ending it now. We're going to keep moving forward. Also, I'd be remiss without thanking our chairman, Ian Robb, for all of the hard work that he's put into this. It would not be the success it is without him at the forefront with this. So on that, I'd like to bring up Ian to say a few words right now. Ian?
Thanks, Derek. I want to thank everybody for this. This is an important thing to me, and it's an important thing to the members that we work with and that we represent. Managing mental health and on the job site is paramount. We must work together to end stigma surrounding mental health issues. With thanks to the Alberta government, I might embarrass somebody here, but they gave us a 2-year stipend to start this thing off, and they gave me a call, and I've never worked with a grant system or anything before, and I thought it was the shuffle out the door. You're finished, your money's run out. I was surprised to find out that they only had 2 things on their agenda, and that was how do we extend your program and how do we expand your program. And I'm really proud to say that leading this thing with the help of the Government of Alberta and all their funding, they've funded us to the tune of $1 million for this program. So, I want to thank the leadership of the CBTU, and I want to thank the staff and Lindsay and her team for bringing this up. And if you attended the session this morning, session number 2, it was a great session put on. Great folks representing. I was really pleased to sit in on that. I'm looking forward to really watching the survey continue. I don't know if we're going to continue filling out the survey. I've got that little problem in the back saying, say the survey, say the survey. So, you know, we really need it filled out because you don't have any idea until you're standing up here or you're working with this side of it. Those surveys matter. We need to know what your members are thinking. We need to know what you're thinking. So if you can do that, that would be great. It would be a huge help to us. And hopefully we can, you know, after this day is over, we don't forget about this stuff. It's in the forefront. We need to address this, and we need to all get together. All the councils across the country, we need to get together, and we need to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and just focus on that. So with that, I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ian and Terry. Thanks again. And thanks to the leadership of Building Trades of Alberta. I can't think of a better name for a program than Building Resiliency. That is so critically important to each and every one of us and to all of our members about being resilient in a challenging environment that's puts pressure on us continually and is something that all of society, I think, could benefit from, building resiliency. It's my pleasure to invite the Canadian Director for the Ironworkers, Mr. Colin Daniels, to come forward, and there you are, Colin, to announce our next award winner. Please, a round of applause for Colin Daniels.
It is my pleasure to introduce the final recipient of the evening, to a great friend and colleague. As many of you know, over the years, the building trades have faced different challenges and opportunities. And it's through these challenges that we've had the opportunity to grow stronger and move forward. Our final recipient is no stranger to challenge. Kevin Bryanton is a 37-year, second-generation member of Ironworkers Local 721 out of Toronto, where he joined in 1987. Kevin was hired by Local 721 as an instructor in 1999, appointed apprenticeship coordinator business agent in 2000, and elected to the offices of vice president, examining committee, president, and business agent, where he served through 2009. Kevin was appointed general organizer in 2009, and in the same year was appointed president of the Ontario Ironworkers District Council. He was appointed 6th General Vice President in 2015. Kevin was further appointed Executive Director of Canadian Affairs for the Ironworkers International in 2019, and he was appointed General Secretary, number 2 in command, January 1 of 2024. Cultivating trust in the building trades and working together has always been the foundation in which we can grow stronger. And Kevin has exemplified that through his leadership, both in the Ironworkers Union and the Canadian Executive Board. His commitment to making the building trades better and his compassion for people has demonstrated to the industry that there's a better way of doing things. Please welcome me in congratulating to my brother, Kevin Bryanton, on your special award of distinction. Brother love.
Thank you, Colin, for that very kind introduction. It is a tremendous honor to be recognized by the Canadian Building Trades for this award. I am humbled to have had the opportunity to serve on the executive board of the Canadian Building Trades, and I can attest that each Canadian director in this room works very hard to advance the interests of each of their trades across the country, as all of you do. And I really do miss hanging out with all of you. But it is my honor now to serve as the General Secretary for the Ironworkers in Washington, D.C. This privilege is one of timing and circumstance and how they line up the way they did to make something like that a possibility than an opportunity. An opportunity, it's an elusive thing at times, but it is a core tenet of what union building trades are all about. Getting into construction trade gives you the opportunity to have a well-paid career with a collective bargaining agreement, with a union rep, with a health care plan, with a pension plan, and so on, and so on. All are opportunities that unrepresented workers do not have. The work itself on the unrepresented side and what the union side is very, very similar. The opportunity is not. Just a little bit about my story and my own opportunity. I'm extremely lucky to be a second-generation ironworker, union ironworker. We don't think of what that means when we say that, as we're saying we're a second or a third or fourth generation. But it's a gamer in terms of the opportunity delta that exists for someone who is not. When I was 16, my father scooped me off the part-time grocery club clerk job that I'd had for 3.5 years, and he said, "You're coming to work with me this summer, son." And I had no idea at that point what an ironworker was, and I had no idea what being a union ironworker meant. But getting into the building trades back then as a 60% ironworker apprentice more than tripled the wage that I had at the time. And I had just gotten a job as a union grocery clerk in everybody's first union, the UFCW, so it also got me an early start on a pension plan, which is just an unbelievable opportunity for someone at that time. My father had a similar opportunity presented to him some 20 years prior when he was organized as a journeyman of Ironworkers Local 229 in San Diego and given a book as a welder. His story varies quite a bit from mine, though, on how he got his start in the working world. His started really, really early when he was halfway through grade 6 in Prince Edward Island, and he left school to help out with the family farm. He got a full-time job when he was 13 at a tire shop in Charlottetown, and then, like many from Eastern Canada, split for Toronto when he was 15 on a motorcycle and got a job at a garage and started an apprenticeship in auto body. He also learned to weld there. A few years later, he headed to California in his 20s, and he worked in a fab shop for quite a time. And then him and a friend of his started their own shop a few years later. They did that for many years, and then their company started doing installation. And they were doing some of that installation work when the union showed up and steered them down to the union hall to get a book. When he tells the story of the arc of his working career, he apexes it at the point at which he joined the union. Then he generally proceeds to go on about everything the union got him in addition to his paycheck. Without the opportunity the union extended to my father in the late 60s, I wouldn't be here on this stage today. And I'm happy to say that he's enjoying his 26th year of union pension checks from the state of California and the Ontario Pension Plan for Ironworkers. I'm not sure he'd have the same luck today if he showed up at the union hall with the same credentials. So I'm extremely grateful he came into the union world when he did, or he might have missed his chance to be part of the middle class. Fast forward from my dad's moment 55 years ago to today, and once again, we are heading into a time where there's a potential for growth across North America that we haven't seen in my lifetime. Both in Canada and the U.S., there's more work coming our way than anyone in this room has ever seen in our two countries. And if we can get out of our own way long enough to truly get back to organizing, we have a shot at growing like we did 50 to 70 years ago. And additionally, across the planet, people are on the move. Hundreds of thousands, probably millions, are coming to North America in search for a better life, and just about every one of those people are going to be looking for work of some kind. And many of them have construction backgrounds. And just like the vast majority of the unrepresented construction workers, they will know almost nothing about our building trade unions. So it's a fantastic time of opportunity to be part of what we all do to represent working people from coast to coast to coast. And those of us who take a little bit of a different look at how we are bringing people into our unions, we'll be rewarded for that work as we move through this time. At the same time, and with respect to the conference theme around training a safe workforce and mental health awareness, it's one of the hardest times to be part of what we do to represent those workers because of the struggles that our members and their families are having with mental health. I heard retired Canadian General Romeo Dallaire speak about mental health a year or so ago at a conference, and he had the best description of what we were going through that I've heard to date. He relayed his time as head of the UN peacekeeping mission that he oversaw in Rwanda in the early 90s. Talked about the soldiers and civilians who they lost over there, the soldiers that were injured and sent back home, and all those who completed the mission and made it back home in one piece. He talked further about the struggles that he and many returnees had with post-traumatic stress disorder after they made it back home. He referred to himself and those men and women as the walking wounded who were honorably injured by what that conflict exacted from inside them. And he likened that mission to the pandemic on all the same levels and said we have millions of walking wounded experiencing mental health crises that they all received honorably as we made it to the other side of the lockdowns and emerged from the global pandemic. And we do, and we continue to. The history of the last 3 to 4 years and of what the pandemic has wrought on my own union is horrifying in terms of the number of people we have lost. And we as an organization are working diligently from the inside out to try to make sure we get a handle on it. And the Canadian Provincial Building Trades and their affiliates have really done some great work around awareness and training. And local unions across North America have adopted a lot of enhanced and extra options for care within their health and welfare plans to try to get tools for people who are struggling. Mental health is something that continues to be a tough journey with no easy path to success and something none of us have any inherent talent at dealing with and something very few of us are naturally comfortable about talking about. So I was very happy when Sean told me that mental health awareness would be part of this conference. And I wish you all the best as you work on tackling it. It's good that the stigma around it is shrinking. Part of that destigmatizing work is keeping it on the union hall engagements and on the meeting agendas and on job box talks at work and a part of the dinner table conversations at home until such time as it's no longer a crisis. It continues to be something that touches all of our lives in one way or another and is worth every effort that you will undertake to try to fix it. I'd like to talk about one more thing, and then I'll let you get, because I know I'm the last person between here and when the bar opens. So, in my previous role, I was Canadian Director in the Ontario District Council guy for the Ironworkers. In those roles, I had the opportunity and privilege to travel across this country to try to grow our organization. I noted as I did that that there's a lot of Canada that could use more labor protections built into law like we had in Ontario, my home province. And as it happens now, like we have in British Columbia. And in a certain way, like we have here in La Belle Province, if the only choice was the building trades. In my current role, I get to do that across North America. And there is a lot of progress in areas south of the 49th parallel doing great work against all odds and making headway in growing our building trades presences. I will tell you, though, there is nowhere that has the kind of labor-friendly laws like we have in the select provincial parliaments and the labor codes of this country. The card check provisions in Ontario exist nowhere else on this side of the world. So please do everything you can as you engage politics, both on a federal and provincial level going forward, to both keep those provisions and expand them. And best of luck on that one too. But to conclude, I just want to say it's great to be back in Canada. And once again to Sean and Cooch and the board, I thank you for the honor that this award represents. It's great to have the chance to catch up with all of you and have a great conference.
Okay, last thing, before we break for the reception, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the organizations that make this conference possible. I want to thank this year's sponsors, Koski-Minsky and Netco. Registration sponsor, the Bricklayers Union. I'd like to thank the operating engineers for sponsoring today's program. All right, there we go. I want to thank the hotel staff and all their hard work for ensuring we're well taken care of. We host, yes, please. A few housekeeping notes. Please remember to leave the translation devices on the tables. The buses. There are buses from here to the market that have been generously sponsored by the Teamsters Canada and are available starting at 6:30 to 10:30 this evening, and it loops every 30 minutes. Breakfast tomorrow, sponsored by the UA, starts at 7:30 a.m. in the Grand Salon. Please note we have a lot of people registered to the conference, so we ask your patience in getting breakfast. You can eat in the Grand Salon or eat in the ballroom, or weather permitting, you can take your breakfast outside. Tomorrow's plenary will start at 8:50 sharp a.m. here in the ballroom. Now please join us for this evening's meet and greet, sponsored by LiUNA Canada, outside these doors right here. Please you take a moment to visit our exhibitors, and thank you all. Enjoy this evening.